All right, I'm not joking. This is recording number 8. Because I can't word what I want to say the right way. But we'll try to zoom this rather quickly because I'm trying to shorten down what I say. And I'm already taking up 12 seconds just to say that. But the Women's March founder has called on like the current leadership to step down over accusations of anti-Semitism and all kinds of stuff. Now, the reason I'm addressing this is not just to say like, oh, this happened, news. I actually did a video on the Women's March earlier this year, sorry. Which I think the Women's March is a very interesting case study to extrapolate what you see here to other organizations in that. And it makes a lot of good points. One being, I'll just summarize this up quickly, like what was in my other video, which I'll link in the description. The Women's March is not pro-women. You can't take things like that at face value. Like, if an organization says, like the American Civil Liberties Union, they do a lot of good stuff. They do a lot of pro-civil liberty stuff. But they're also very ideological and tend to take stances that are very anti-civil liberties in certain senses. Things like that. Like a pro-equality movement is not necessarily pro-equality. Are they equality of outcome or equality of opportunity? How are they measuring that? That's the kind of important stuff you need to ask. Because an appropriate question to ask, what you wouldn't think to ask, would be, is the Women's March advocating for open borders? Which, if you look at it, Women's March. What is that? What does being pro-women have to do with open borders? Apparently enough that they put it in their platform and said, yeah, we are pro-open borders. And I'm not just talking like we shouldn't have closed borders. I'm talking like open, like no human being is illegal, as they say. Like bring everyone in, that kind of thing. But yeah, essentially what happened, to sum up quick, the original woman that I guess like advocated for, hey, we should do a march to oppose Trump, and then call it the Women's March for some reason. Which I understand why people think that, but it's wrong. The whole logic of like anti-Trump, therefore pro-women, or vice versa. They're calling on the issues, or like calling on, kind of asking for the current board of the Women's March to disavow some anti-Semitism, and for some reason they didn't, as far as I can see. Where the guilt by association stuff is dumb. Like, the actual accusation here, I guess what happens was this one woman that's part of the group, Tamika Mallory, what she did was she was captured on video attending a Nation of Islam event in which Louis Farrakhan said, "The powerful Jew is my enemy." Now, Louis Farrakhan, if you're not aware, said some pretty anti-Semitic stuff, and I'm pretty sure he's actually anti-Semitic. And, of course, I don't, throw out those terms lightly. I'm pretty sure he's dang anti-Semitic, and it always seems weird how the left, not all the people on the left, but the establishment left people seem to rather accept Louis Farrakhan, despite just blatant anti-Semitism, comparing Jews to termites and all that. But she apparently went to this event, and they caught her at this event, and Louis Farrakhan said that also at the event. Now, guilt by association is dumb. The fact that she showed up to this thing, and Louis Farrakhan said this thing, does not equate, does not mean that by showing up to this event, she endorsed everything that everyone said. Of course, if you're showing up to some kind of ideological conference and you endorse everything that everyone says, it's a pretty dumb conference. It's a pretty boring conference. But yeah, essentially what happened was she showed up here. Now, normally I would just say dumb accusation, whatever. She doesn't have to defend this. But naturally what happens is if you're accusing someone of supporting a certain view, or supporting someone that has a certain view, normally what you do is you just kind of go out and you disavow it. You put out yeah, I disagree with this. Obviously I disagree with this. I can't believe people are saying I agree with it, but I disagree. But this woman doesn't seem to be doing that at all. And rather, the other people on the board seem to defend her. And you have people like Linda Sarsour in that who, again, I don't know if she's anti-Semitic, and I'm not going to throw out that accusation because I don't have enough to know, but I know she's pretty radical, and I know that is generally, as you get more radical, you tend to, or rather, I don't know how to word this appropriately without slandering a whole group, but generally, there is a correlation, I should say, with being incredibly radical, on the far left and also on the far right. There's a correlation between that and anti-Semitism. Again, if you're part of either camp, that doesn't make you an anti-Semite. That doesn't mean you have to defend it or explain it. I'm just saying that seems to be the trend. But oddly enough, she didn't say, yeah, disavow. What she said was, where my people are is where I must also be, in a longer statement, which I'll link the article in the description if you want to read that. But she says, I go into difficult spaces. So she didn't disavow. She was just kind of yeah, which if I were to ever respond like that, that would generally be me saying, even if I don't agree with it, I don't think it radical enough to actually like specifically disavow it, is how I would interpret it, at least. But I think that's rather interesting. So I'm gonna wrap this video up here. But that is the kind of the whole point. Just to say, when an organization says like, "Hey, we support this," look at their statement. Look at what they believe. Are they actually supporting open borders as the Women's March is? What are they actually supporting? Because that bugs me. Where, of course, we know that generally like the logic tends to go, if you don't support the Women's March, and I'll say I don't support the organization as an like. I think what they're doing is bad. I think what I think what they're advocating for is bad. Again, if they want to protest, fine. They're not hurting anyone, except for the environment when they leave all their signs behind on the sidewalks and that, and don't clean up after themselves, and all the trash cans full of Starbucks. Again, as long as they're not hurting anyone, fine. I don't care. If that's how they want to vent, then all for them. I don't care. But what my issue is where people are like, yeah, we're going to create an organization that's pro-women. And if you disagree with us, you're anti-women. If you disagree with us on any of these platforms, you're anti-women, which tends to be the logic there. And I'm not exaggerating. Like, it sounds like an exaggeration now that I'm listening to me say it, but that's actually like some of the logic thrown out there. But yeah, it's the lack of disavowal, which I find very interesting. It's not an automatic like they must be anti-Semitic. The Women's March is anti-Semitic confirmed. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the lack of disavowal is a bit weird considering how much they expect from other people, how much they demand. Like, if you're right wing and you were like, and that's the craziest thing I've seen. One of the crazier accusations. Apparently, if you debate a white nationalist, you go on a channel and you debate someone, and you say, I think your views are wrong, and you spend 2.5 hours or however long it was debating this white nationalist, saying you are wrong on your white nationalism, I disagree with white nationalism, apparently you will be accused of supporting white nationalism. That didn't happen to me, but hopefully people know what I'm talking about there. But that happened. People were throwing out that accusation, which I don't even know how you can do that at all in good faith. But stuff like that, where I'm surprised there's no disavowal. And just remember that when an organization says we're pro this, go a bit more in depth. Like look a bit better, or look into what they support. Look at their policy positions, as I did with the Women's March, and you will find some crazy stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed. Let me know about the background that I changed, whether it's it moves too much to be annoying. That I don't like how much it moves, but I like it more than a static background. It seems to add some, I don't even know what you would call it. It just seems to add something that's not just a bland. It's a video. It should be a video. It shouldn't just be like 80% of the video shouldn't be a static image. It should be more than that. But let me know what you think of that. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more if you're interested in that Women's March video. I'll leave that in the description. Articles in the description. And thanks for watching.